Hello, everybody. Hey, everybody. Alicia here, and we're going to be doing a really cool session tonight on how to reach your inner child. The inner child is such an intricate session. People, people are. I want to clarify a couple things about reaching the inner child. I think people think that your inner child is what you do when you have fun or when you express yourself in a fun way or if you do things like a kid does. It's so much more than just that. It's about taking the time to acknowledge the child that lives within you that is experiencing things as if it were right now today. If all time is happening all at the same time, according to a lot of the quantum physics scientists, Einstein and such like that, if everything is happening all at the same time now, that means there may be an inner child within you that could be suffering some perceived trauma that happened maybe 10 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, depending on how old you are, who is suffering right now, right here. So the example that I love to give is would if you had a child that you knew, either a neighbor, friend, your own child, cousin, nephew, it doesn't really matter. If you knew someone was suffering right now, would you just, and you were in front of them, would you just allow it to happen? For most of us, the answer would be no. We would not just allow a little child to suffer. We would go up to them. We would ask them questions. We would pay them attention. We would say, "Are you okay? Can I help you?" And you see that a lot of times on videos on social media all the time, where a little kid comes up to a stranger and says, "I'm really hungry. Could you feed me?" If you had a little child that came up to you and said, "I'm really hungry. Could you feed me?" Would you help them? Or would you at least bring them to someone who could help them? This is so profound right now because in my mind, I'm thinking, you do have a child that's inside you who's hungry. You totally do. And sometimes when you even have a hunger pang, in your own body and you can't stop it from happening, it's because there's a little child inside craving something within you. And yet you might not even realize that it is the little child inside of you craving that has a hunger that really has nothing to do with food. And yet we feel hungry and we want to quench that hunger. And so we eat things that we love, sugars, sweets, soul food, in order for us to get fed. Think about that. If we think about that in relation to the inner child, if we are looking for soul food, perhaps that little child within our soul is looking to be fed. So recently this week, I gave the example of me being very anxious with time and really trying to understand and get to the bottom of why do I feel like I get anxious when I think of time. I usually feel like, I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time. Every time I turn around, it seems like 15 minutes went by and I don't know where that time went. I have no idea. I'm scratching my head thinking like, what just happened? Usually I'm on one of these social media apps, you guys, and I'm scrolling, which is just not a good use of my time. It's a good use of my time to be with you guys here. So I have this anxiety of not knowing where the time has gone or feeling like I'm always late or that I'm going to be late. So these are some things that really, really, really bother me. And I was thinking the other day when I was in prayer and I was speaking to God, I thought to myself, where, Lord, do I have this hunger inside of me? Where do I need to be healed? Can you please show me what it is that I need to change, flip, turn around, pay attention to? What part of my inner child needs to be taken care of by you, Lord? So the immediate thought goes to my birth. And I'm like, okay, I'm here at my birth. What do I need to do at my birth here? And I'm seeing the whole scene of something that I can't see. I shouldn't say. I'm seeing the whole scene of people running around in my mind. Now, I know in my mind, I don't remember that day, but I remember in my mind from stories that were told by my parents that I had a due date of June. And here we are in the middle of May, towards the very, very, towards the end. And I was born, even though I was supposed to be born in June. So what are they saying? What are the things that I'm hearing? Why is she coming now? It's not time. Not supposed to be here. The doctor refused to come, which I'm sure made my mother so anxious. The hospital called the doctor so many times that he actually took the phone off the hook, and the police was sent to his house to go get him. The doctor told my mom to cross her legs, like that was going to stop me from coming. So there were so many subliminal messages about wrong time. It's the wrong time. Stop. Don't come. No, you're not supposed to be here. Like, it's not your time. And so, as an infant, that subconscious mind was set. Um, that subconscious mind was set that the timing was off. So, perhaps for my entire life, I have been subconsciously thinking that it's not my time. I'm off. Um, Hello, Willows in the Wilderness. You're welcome to come on. Absolutely, girl. If you want to come on, girl, come in. So, anyhow, so imagine how that baby did not feel very welcome. Apparently, my mom was asleep. So there's a possibility I was pulled out with forceps. She was unconscious, so I don't know. It was a long time ago. Um, so I have no idea if maybe there were some forceps put around my head and I was taken out. But I do know that there was a lot of anxiety around the day that I was born. And there was a lot of, I don't know why she's coming now. She's not supposed to be here. Um, you know, it's not time. So, because that is the case, that was the case. Looking forward to my session with you. I know you can come on live if you want, honey. We can talk here. I will reinvite you. You're welcome to come in. We can talk. So Mindy is a friend of mine, and she might. Oh, here she comes! Yay! You're gonna hear a little bit about Mindy's. So thanks for coming on, Mindy. So let me finish my story. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So there was a lot of subliminal messages, subconscious messages, and within my spirit, within my energy, that it was not the right time when I was born. So I felt in my spirit like that needed to be rectified. And so, my best friend and my hero is Yeshua. And so I had him come into the nursery, because I can't, if my mom was passed out, I'm imagining that there was no immediate skin to skin connection. And so perhaps there was a piece of me in that very beginning stage of missing that. So that is why in my mind, I had visualized my baby, me or myself as a baby, being held to Jesus's chest, or Yeshua's chest, skin to skin, because that was the first thing. The second thing was more of a connection where he was saying, "Hey, my little baby, you're here perfectly on time. You were supposed to be here." I I called you to be here at this time. You are not early. You are meant to be here. You are divinely on time. Um, you're good. You're safe. I love you, you know? And oh my gosh, of course, the tears that came that morning and how I felt so welcomed because I think I'd entered this world with resistance. So, but what do you think of that, Mindy?
Um, that story means a lot to me because when I was going into labor with my daughter, that is everything that they were saying. I literally got to the hospital in labor, active labor, okay? And they were like, "Oh, you're here for your appointment? And then you go home?" And I was like, "No, guys, I'm having a baby." And literally the whole day, they kept telling me, "You're not having a baby today. You're not having a baby today. You're not going to have a baby today."
Wow.
Like, yeah, surprise, I had her that day. And I felt like there was a disconnect in my own body. And I wondered if there was they're speaking those words over her. Like, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. After years of people speaking over my body that I would never be able to be pregnant. I would never be able to carry full term. I would miscarry. I would die. And it was like, for both of us, there were so many things spoken over us. And I am really happy that I was able to have that skin to skin with her and kind of just hold her and just have this moment where I was like, "You are absolutely supposed to be here
Oh,
right
God
now."
bless. That's so beautiful. That's so
Like
wonderful.
that,
That's
those words
amazing.
are
Mom
definitely
was
very
given
powerful.
I don't think my mom was given the opportunity to do that. I think that if she had been given and I think about this, and think about this, Mindy. How many now back in the 60s, I was born in the late 60s, believe it or not. In the late 60s, they would knock the mother out. So
There's
how
so many things that in the
how many
birthing
people
world that's so unnatural and disconnected.
but how many people were born with no skin to skin contact?
For a newborn, that's literally traumatizing, and it sounds dramatic, but it's literally a need. And it's a need for the mother, for your body. Your hormones need that to start regulating, and even sometimes it helps mothers not to bleed out, like literally, because your body is making kind of connecting the dots. And I've spoken to mothers who were sort of fear mongered or something into a C-section that they didn't need, and they feel sort of similarly. They feel really disconnected from the birth and from their baby even, and like their bodies still don't communicate to them the same way. They feel distant from their body because the natural progression of things was almost robbed of them, they feel. And like, I think there's a lot of that
There's so much
in
of it.
today's society.
There's so
Because
much
we
of it.
really don't honor birth in the medical field.
I mean, I could probably make a business just by teaching people that they can be held from their birth because their mom wasn't there.
Right?
I just want
And literally, just the birth trauma alone is a business. It's sad to say.
exactly. Exactly. Now, I understand like birth is just for most women, it's a very hard, very painful, very like scary thing. So, I mean, I feel I've had 7 children and a lot of them I had epidural blocks because I wanted to have more of a peaceful birth. And I did a lot of the breath work as long as I could,
And
and then I would have an epidural block, and then I would have a pretty peaceful birth, but I always held my babies, every single one of them. I always nursed them from the get-go. I was extremely attentive to my babies, to the chagrin of all the children who were young, who were older and hated it because mommy was like, "Who? I got
yeah.
this baby over here," So, I was very utilitarian and I would nurse them like least was 8 months and the most was 13 months. So I really tried to, take the time to love on them,
Yeah.
uh, you know, just be there for them. But anyway,
Connection.
there's a
Yeah.
whole generation of children who were born not having been held. And that is a crying shame So for everybody, I
That's
think
devastating.
what I'd like to do is, maybe do an exercise around that, since we have so many people who have not had the opportunity, and I'm not blaming moms. I'm not saying that at all. It's more like the medical
Yeah.
industry that is at fault here, because
Yeah,
and they
really, the
just
mothers aren't being supported either. Like the
exactly.
moms are feeling the trauma of that disconnect as well, just as much.
Exactly. So, what I'd like to do today is to give us the opportunity to have that skin to skin experience, and of course, we're going to use that. So let's do a little exercise here today, and we're going to just put ourselves in a space of quiet. So, I'd like you guys to just take a deep breath in. Hold it. One, two, three, four, and let it go. One, two, three, four. Maybe I'll add some music since we love the vibration of 528. It's the vibration of love. And if you like this video, if you like what that you're watching, please like it wherever you are. If you're on TikTok, please tap the screen. If you're on YouTube, please like the video, share it out, bring some people in here so that they can not for me, for everybody else who needs this experience, and the people who will see it, of course, will see it. But so we've got 528. So we will do our breath work with the tone. So I will ask you guys to hold it, and then I'll hit it every time we need to switch. So breathe in for, hold for, and then we'll go around in a circle. Okay? So let's take a deep breath in. One, two, three, four. Hold it. One, two, three, four. Breathe out. One, two, three, four. Hold it. One, two, three, four. Breathe in. One, two, three, four. Hold it. One, two, three, four. Breathe out. One, two, three, four. Hold. One, two, three, four. Breathe in. So I want you to visualize that we are in the hospital in which you were born. Even if it's not even open anymore, it's okay. Just go into this hospital. In your mind, it's there. You've been given permission to come into this space. You are allowed to be here. There's no one that will stop you. There's no resistance whatsoever. I want you to visualize that you're walking into the hospital, and that you are greeted by the receptionist who points you to the right way, and you go into an elevator. It says L&D, labor and delivery, second floor. So you press the button, and the elevator's there. You step inside the elevator, press the button, floor 2. It closes the doors, and you go up 1, 2, and the doors slowly open wide. And you step out, and there's an arrow to the left, L&D, and you walk down the hallway. As you're walking down the hallway, you notice that the nurse is at the end of the hallway. She knows you're coming, and she wants you to feel welcome, and so she opens the door with a smile, and she leads you over to the nursery. And at the very edge of the nursery, on the last bassinet on the left, is this gorgeous little baby. And that gorgeous little baby is you. And I want you to pick up that baby and hold that baby to your chest, and tell that baby that there is not another baby in this whole entire planet that's just like you. And nuzzle the baby on top of the baby's head. Give that baby a kiss, and let them know that they're here exactly when they're supposed to be, exactly how they're supposed to be, exactly where they're supposed to be. And as you turn your head, you notice that Jesus is sitting in the rocking chair. And you hand that baby over to him. And he is so excited to hold you. And the baby just opens their eyes and looks around and notices that it is the Lord of Lords holding you. And he opens his shirt a little and nestles you inside. And you feel so safe, so warm, so connected. You are breathing in tandem with the Lord of all lords and the King of all kings. You are a child of the Most High. And he has taken the time to be here just for you. And so, in that glory and in that love, that beautiful, deep act of love, you feel so special, so connected, so cherished, so adored. Just feel that. Breathe that in. No one's fingerprints are like you. No one's feet are like you. And he knows every single number of hairs on your head. Just imagine that. That you were created on purpose for a mission that no one else is here for except you. And you are being given every blessing, every love, every permission to do the job that you were called here on this earth to do. And there's no one else who can do it like you. You are a walking miracle. I want you to just really feel that. Feel that in your soul. I am a walking miracle. I walk like no one else. I breathe like no one else. I think like no one else. And yet I am part of the divine master who's created everything. The Lord of all knows how many hairs you have on your toes. And he loves every single one of them. Nothing happens without him knowing. And we need to be cognizant of the deep, profound love that he has for us right in this moment. And if it's happening right in this moment, not only have you changed, if you've gone through this exercise with me here today, not only has your inner child, baby, everything shifts from this space. Everything. Nothing can be the same from this point right now because the Lord of Lords and the God of all gods has shifted you, has given you permission to move forward and to do your job, has given you his blessing to carry on. And so anything that may have been said over you, any false start, any resistance, anything that could be holding you back has now been shaken free, dusted like dust off your feet. And you can move forward from here. So this realization that has been brought to you today by the Lord holding you here is going to give you permission to move forward. It's going to give you less of an excuse to hold back because God has given you the permission to say yes to your mission here on this earth. Just breathe that in and think about that for a second. Think about the ripple effect that this has created for you. The belief that this step that you have been, or this gift that you've been given here in this time right now, allowing you to never be the same again, is will change everything. So run with it. Take this, move forward, allow this to be something that you will use for the rest of your beautiful life. I thank you. Thank you for doing this exercise with me. So, how do you feel, Mindy?
That was beautiful. It was very peaceful. Like the part where Yeshua was like holding close, like I got really like literally sleepy and like teary eyed. That was beautiful.
He has that effect. He does.
It does. It is an opportunity to kind of like rewire things. We all have the different parts that can be kind of more fragmented than others. And I think I'm learning more and more in my journey how much, like, really early on, those parts can be separated, even as early as in the womb. We're taking in a lot of emotion, information, chemicals, everything. And so to be able to travel back to that place and bring some healing can really change so much. Like you said, the ripple effect, I think, can be really impactful.
It's true. And I think that if you even want to go deeper, which sometimes I do if I'm called, and this is the beautiful thing about the inner child sessions, there's information that's there, but every single person who's there in that space,
Right.
So we'll experience something different because I'm called to do different things. I may be called to use one of my tuning forks in my session, or use my drum in one of my sessions. I mean, it all depends. It was so fun. I was doing today some of my tones, noticing that they match those tones. I was like, oh, this is so cool. So it's really neat to be able to have the different tools that I can use to bring in that serenity that people are looking for when they're trying to reach their inner child. But we have to also think about how it also incorporates to our ancestral bloodlines, and how that has helped to create us where we are today, good or bad. Now, thankfully, there is a good side to that, but there's also some inconsistencies or injustices that may have occurred, or even deeper than that. And this just kind of popped into my mind. Unforgivenesses that happened in our ancestral line that we need to realize and step in and take care of.
Yeah. Stand in the breach.
Handle
things on people's behalf, because the bitterness runs in our blood. You know what I mean? The resentment and the roots of it, like, we don't even know that we hold like anger or like hostility towards certain types of people, or we're triggered by things that make no sense to us. And it's like, why am I being triggered by my great grandmother's triggers right now? What is happening?
Exactly. Like, I kind of feel like a lot of times there are even like family histories of some relatives who just kind of like disappear into the nothing, like they didn't matter. And there's got to be some resentment of not being able to have that connection to family, to figure out how and how abandoned or forgotten they may feel, and that like it lives on through the children, the grandchildren, the great grandchildren. It carries on.
Yeah. Any kind of rejection is such a strong energetic thing, and it's dense, and it's like it lasts until you deal with it.
Exactly.
And I think, like you said, that disconnect from the family line, and especially those of us who are particularly healy-feely spiritual folk, I think us, you think people like you and I 100 years ago, they probably did not fare well in this world. We're so the level of rejection that we already feel, I'm sure that in families, in church spaces and such, there was a lot of deep rejection. and even separation from family and stuff like that. And so those of us who carry some of those giftings and, you know, stuff like that that's been suppressed for generations or rejected for generations, I think with those gifts, we carry also the shame and the pain and the abandonment a lot of
Yeah.
times without realizing.
Well, if you think about how, like, in our minds we can go back to the hospital where we were born, and if all time is happening all at once, then that person's pain still remains in our present day right now. So if it would be like in our best interest to say if we had an ousted family member, sometimes divorce would happen, and the person who was your blood relative, included in this divorce and discarded, still has that pain, and that pain is still affecting us. Like, I was listening to something today on TikTok, and it was JK Ultra, and she was talking about how there that the world almost destroyed itself and in World War II, and that if the world had destroyed itself, there were repercussions for people who were in the future, and that they were coming in essential. I don't know if they were coming through time machines or whatever the case may be. They were coming back to make sure, hey, 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 no, 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 we can't, no, no, this can't be happening, because it would affect them in the
Everybody chill.
future. What's that?
Yeah, they kind of came back and had to be like, all right, everybody chill. Like, let's take a
Exactly. Let's breathe. Hey, we're not enemies here, because
yeah,
there's repercussions and they didn't want to live through the bad repercussions. So there's just
yeah,
so much. There's just so much. There's so many different aspects we can think about or
yeah.
consider.
And there's
And
a lot less limitation when we, like you said, time is always happening. All of it's always happening all the time. Like it's when I pray sometimes, even when I'm breaking things off for me, for my family, like I'm praying and I say things like, in every dimension and timeline, in every direction,
me too.
because yes, girl, because I just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases because from every direction. So what I'm praying right now, let it break off of my great whoever before it even reaches me, but now in my time, you know what I mean? It's we can be more, unlimited with our prayers and with our therapy and all of that. So I think there's a
Agreed.
lot of empowerment there.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. And that's the beautiful thing, is to realize that we are not powerless here in this space. And I love that, to be able to empower ourselves and pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, to let ourselves know that we're not alone in this, and that we can do something, and that we make a difference. You know? All right, we're over 30 minutes, so I thank you so much for coming on, Mindy. It was a pleasure having you. Come back anytime. I'm really happy to be able to come here and be here with you in the space, giving back. And we are going to do this again. I have one more week before I go back to Ecuador. So excited. I'm going to. I did create a new business. Um, called Mindful Ecuadorian Travel Adventures. And I'm going to be in 2024, we're going to be offering tours, and you'll be seeing more about that as we put more promotional materials. I'm going with my hubby, and we're going to have such a great time. I'm so, so excited. I'm so excited to be able to go back so I can eat. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. Have an amazing night, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks so much. Bye. All right, my YouTube people, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. We will be doing more of this, the inner child, as I continue my quest as being your guide that reaches the inner child inside. And I am happy to be of service, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.